Nama Rupa Guna Dosha Varjitam, free from name, form, guna and dosha, good and bad. This is beyond all these categorizations, these limitations. Desha Kala Vishayati Vartiyat. It transcends limitations of time, space and time, desha and kala, vishaya, sensory objects, ativarti. It transcends all this. It's something transcending sensory experience, psychic experience. It transcends it. That's language. This is loka, that is lokottara. Buddhism uses this word. Loka, lokottara. Loka is what is seen by the senses. Lokottara is what lies above it. The English word transcendental has exactly this meaning. Lokottara. Beyond the sensory level is this reality. So that is your true nature. Brahma tattvamasi. Bhavayatmani. Realize it in yourself. Realize it in yourself. Similarly, yat param sakalavaga gocharam gocharam vimala bodha chakshushaha shuddha chighana manadi vastu yat brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Every word is so rich and so beautiful. Yat param, that which is the supreme reality. Param means supreme in Sanskrit. Sakalavaga gocharam, beyond all speech, including the Vedas. Even the Vedas cannot touch this Atman. Only the Vedas have said, among all the scriptures, don't depend upon the Vedas, go beyond them. In no other scripture you will find this teaching. Don't depend upon the words of the Vedas, go beyond them. So, sakalavaga gocharam, every speech is helpless to reveal this Atman. So go beyond all speech, including speech of the sacred books, go beyond the Vedas. In no other scripture you will find this emphasis. Experience takes you beyond the books, including the scriptures, including the holy books. So the Upanishad said, Vedo Avedo Bhavati. When you realize the truth, Veda becomes Aveda, no Veda to you, because you have realized the truth. Sri Ramakrishna said, the Hindu almanac often contains the forecast of the rainfall of the year. Say, this year there will be 50 inches of rain. But Ramakrishna adds, if you squeeze the almanac, you won't get a drop of water. Similarly, the Vedas and the Quran and the Bible, what do they contain? They contain information about God. They do not contain God, only information. By squeezing them, you won't get God. By squeezing your own experience, you will get it. That is what was taught the Hindu, so that religion means realizing the truth. Anubhava avasanam, Brahma Vijnanam, Shankaracharya said in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Brahman is a reality which is consummated in the experience of Brahman, not talking about Brahman. So, Sakalavaga Gocharam, and yet Gocharam Vimala Bodha Chakshushaha. This Brahman can be realized with a pure eye of understanding, pure eye of reason. You can understand it. The senses cannot reveal it. So the word Gocharam is used in two meanings here. Gocharam means whatever can be seen with the senses. Go is also referred to the sensory system. Gocharam. Then no speech can reveal it. But Gocharam Vimala Bodha Chakshushaha. Bodha Chakshu, the eye of understanding, the eye of Bodhi. That eye can realize it. So Vimala Bodha Chakshushaha, realizable. Shuddha Chidghanam Anadi Vastuyat. It is pure. It is a mass of pure consciousness. Chidghana. Ghana means there is no foreign matter in it. Everything is the Atman. That's the meaning of the word Ghana in Sanskrit. Shuddha Chidghana. Anadi Vastuyat. The primordial reality. Brahma Tattvamasi. You are that Brahman. Realize the truth for yourself. Then, Shadbhirurmibhirayogi. Yogi Hridbhavitam na Karanair Vibhavitam. Buddhyavedyam Anavadyam Astiyat. Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. The word yoga is used in two senses here. Says, Shadbhirurmibhirayogi. These sixfold waves of change cannot touch it. The word ayogi is used here. You cannot sparsha. Yoga means sparsha, touch. The sixfold world of change cannot touch it. What are the sixfold waves? It is a very technical term in our philosophy. Everything in this world is subject to six waves of change. First, jayate, a thing comes into birth. That's called jayate, first wave. Then asti, then you can say it exists. The predicate of existence you can apply to it. Jayate, asti. Then vardhate, it begins to grow. Then viparinamate, it transforms. Then apakshiyate, it declines. Nashyati, it gets destroyed. Now the 6 waves, everything is subject to this 6-fold wave of change. This doesn't affect Brahman. That's the meaning of the statement. Shadbhir urmipi ayogi. These urmi. Urmi means wave in Sanskrit. Urmi means wave in the ocean. There are 6. Shadbhir urmipi ayogi. But yogi hridbhavitam. Yogi's heart can realize it. See the language. The word yogi is used that way. This is ayogi. But a yogi's heart can realize it. Shadbhir urmipi ayogi. Yogi hridbhavitam. Na karanayur vibhavitam. Karana means sensory system. This instrument of knowledge. Eye, ear, etc. They cannot reveal it. Na karanayur vibhavitam. Buddha vedyam. Buddhi can realize it. Buddhi grahyam. The Gita said, Buddhi grahyam atindriyam. Beyond the senses, but his buddhi can grasp it. When? When the buddhi becomes pure. When does it become pure? When it is no more a slave to the sensory system. That's the purity of buddhi. When that buddhi becomes pure, that buddhi discovers the Atman sitting just behind it. The Atman is so near, just behind the buddhi. Buddhi doesn't turn that side. Buddhi turns to the senses, the sense object. That is a normal buddhi, what you call intellect in English. But when it is pure, it becomes a cause of your liberation, because it gets a touch of the Atman behind. The light of the Atman playing upon the intellect converts the intellect into buddhi, pure buddhi. That can realize the Atman. What a difference between light of the senses playing upon buddhi, light of the Atman playing upon buddhi. In spiritual life, the second thing happens. The light of God plays upon the mind of man, the buddhi of man. That buddhi which is pure can realize this truth. Nedishtham Brahma. Shankara defined buddhi as nearest to Brahman. Next to him, the only Atman remains, next to buddhi. But the buddhi doesn't know it. Buddhi is busy with the senses and the sensory world. So when you turn this buddhi in the right direction, you get a light of the buddhi. Then when you come back to this world, your life is different. You have the touch of the Atman within you. So, Shadbhir urmipi rayogi, yogi hridbhavitam, na karanayur vibhavitam. Sense organs cannot reveal it. Buddha vedyam, buddhi can be realized. Anavadyam astiyat, that Atman which is ever pure, no dirt, no impurity attached to it. Anavadyam, without any blemish. Anavadyam means without any blemish. Tat Brahma, that is the Brahman, and you are that. Tat Tumasi, Bhavayatmane, Prantikalpita Jagatkalashrayam. This world of diversity is caused by a certain delusion of the mind. The basis of that delusion is the Atman itself. The Atman is behind the mind, and the mind goes on imagining this and that, and the mind doesn't know this ashrayam, the support is behind it. So, Prantikalpita Jagat Kalashrayam. Whenever there is a delusion, there is a basis. You don't see the basis. You see only what appears on the basis. So, on the basis, there is there. The famous example they take, when you see a snake in darkness, actually it is a rope, but you mistake it for a snake. But behind the snake is the rope. That is the ashraya of the snake itself. Without an ashraya, no delusion can take place. Therefore, this is the Brahman, the basis of that mistaken notion regarding the world. World is really Brahman. That is the basis. But we don't know it. So, Bhrantikalpita Jagat Kalashrayam, Swashrayam, and that basis is based on itself. It is not dependent upon something else. Swashrayam. Similarly, Sadasat Vilakshanam, free from the relationship of cause and effect, transcending all cause and effect. That is Brahman, the Absolute. The Absolute is beyond cause and effect. Nishkalam, free from parts, impartible, indivisible. Nirupamanam, incomparable. Nothing to compare with the Atman. That is a wonderful word. Nirupamanam. Just like Mount Everest. I often used to consider that poor Mount Everest. He has no companion. Stands all alone. All others are below. Nobody equal to him. So Nirupamanam, incomparable. There is nothing to compare with. Others are all little things only. Yadhi Brahma, that is Brahman. Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. Then Astabhedam Anapasta Lakshanam Nistaranga Jalarashi Nischalam Nityamuktam Abhimukta Murtiyat Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. Astabhedam Anapasta Lakshanam. All these differences are dissolved in the Atman. Asta Bhedam. All Bheda has set, like sun setting. So all the Bhedas have been overcome in the Atman. And then Anapasta Lakshanam, whose essence is always there. You may not see it, but it is always there. Anapasta Lakshanam. Nistaranga Jalarashi Nischalam. Absolutely tranquil, like the ocean or the lake where all the waves have subsided. What a wonderful example. All the Pacific, the ocean becomes calm, no wave, no particular manifestation, no name, no form, absolutely a tranquil ocean. This Atman is like that. Nityamuktam, ever free. Avibhaktam, without any division. Astiyat, Murtiyat, that Brahma Tattvamasi, Bhavayatmani. That is your true nature. Realize it. Ekameva sat, aneka karanam, karanantara nirasi, akaranam, karyakarana vilakshanam swayam, Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. Ekameva sat, that sat is only one. Ekam sat, truth is one, truth is one. That is the first. Ekameva sat. But aneka karanam, it is the cause of the many. The many come from the one. That's a wonderful idea. All science and all Vedanta speak, all the many have come from the one. And they go back to the one. Just like wave comes from the water, goes back to the water. How many varieties of waves are there? But all of them come from the water, go back to water. A primordial unity behind the universe is a common truth in physical science and Vedanta. We come from the one, we go back to the one. The rest are merely explanation. In between, what happens? This is the ultimate truth. Ekameva sat, aneka karanam, karanantara nirasi. It has no more cause behind it. Akaranam, causeless. Absolutely without any cause behind it, because it is infinite and non-dual. If there is duality, you can have cause and effect relation. There is no duality here. Pure consciousness, infinite and non-dual. It is itself. That is the last stage of human understanding and realization. Karyakarana vilakshanam. Apart from the distinctions of effects and causes, Karyakarana vilakshanam. Swayam, Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. That is your true nature. Realize it for yourself. Then, Nirvikalpakam Analpamaksharam. It is Nirvikalpakam, without any change, absolutely without any modification. Nirvikalpa Samadhi means mind absolutely beyond all differentiation. Therefore, this is Nirvikalpakam. Then, Analpam. It is infinite. Alpam means small. Analpam means negative, infinite. Aksharam. With it, without indestructible. Yaksharakshara vilakshanam. It is free from all the distinctions, kshara and akshara. Nature, in its differentiated form, is kshara. Undifferentiated form is akshara. This Atman is beyond both. There is one primordial state of nature. That nature assumes these multiple forms. These forms come and go. That nature is always there. This is kshara, that is akshara. And this is Atman beyond kshara and akshara. Yasmaksharam atitoham. Aksharadavijottamaha. Atosmi loke vedeja pristata purushottamah. The Gita said, 15th chapter. Beyond the kshara, beyond the akshara. Therefore I am known as Purushottama, Uttama Purusha. Krishna's statement in the Gita. Yaksharakshara virakshanam param, the supreme. Nityam avyaya sukham. It is always of the nature of infinite bliss. Avyaya sukham. No vyaya means expenditure. No decay. Undecaying infinite bliss. Niranjanam, free from all the impurity. Anjana means impurity or blemish. Niranjanam. Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. Then, Yad Vibhati Sadanekatha Brahmat Namarupa Guna Vikriyatmana Hemavatsvayam Avikriyam Sada Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. Yad Vibhati Sat Anekatha Brahmat. That one infinite reality appears as many through delusion. When you are deluded you see the differences, but it is all one only. Nama Rupa Guna Vikriyatmana. Through all the differences of Nama, Rupa, Guna and Vikriya means modification, that one appears as the many. Then he gives an example. Hemavat Swayam Avikriyam Sada. Here is a lump of gold. The goldsmith takes it, makes a bangle out of it, makes a chain out of it, makes any kind of ornaments out of it. All these changes are appearing, but the gold doesn't know any of these changes. It's always the same gold only. Hemavat. In all these various ornaments, gold continues as gold, absolutely unchanged. But you find all the changes in the shape, the name, the form, and the way you use them. Something you put it on the head, some on the leg, some on the hand, some on the finger. But gold doesn't know all this distinction. It's always one and the same. Hema means gold. Hemavat. Swayam avikriyam. By itself, it is without any modification. But your mind discovers so many modifications, and we use them in that way. That's the nature of this gold in ornament. So also is Brahman in the world. Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Realize this truth. Then, yatchakasti anaparam paratparam pratyagyekarasam atmalakshanam satyachitsukam anantam avyayam Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Yatchakasti. That which there is nothing else is there. It shines all by itself, nothing beyond it. Similarly, paratparam, beyond all these limitations and nature in its undifferentiated state, Atman is beyond. Paratparam. Pratyageka rasam. It is pratyak. You experience it as something within you, as I, the real nature of this I. Pratyak Swarupa. Pratyak. Eka rasam. One only and no two. Always one and one. No foreign matter inside. Atma Lakshana, of the nature of the self. Brahman is of the nature of the self. Pratyaka Atman, we call it. The Atman as my own inner self. Your own inner self. In every one of us, this Atman is there. Satya Chit Sukha. Sat Chit Sukha means Sat Chit Ananda. The nature of Brahman is Sat Chit Ananda. Existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Anantam, infinite. Avyayam, it cannot be decaying, undecaying. Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Realize this truth for yourself. Then he concludes these verses in verse 264. Uktamarthamidam imam atmanistvayam bhavaye pratiti yuktibirthaya samshayadirahitam karambuvat tena tattva nirgamo bhavishyati. This subject which I have just now expounded, uktamartham, try to understand the meaning of it in yourself. Atmanistvayam bhavaye, when you realize it, pratita yuktibirthaya, with great intelligence, according to the reasons given. There are plenty of reasons. It is not merely a question of take it or leave it, not a question of belief. You can question, you can discuss. There are plenty of reasons to show this truth. Taking all this, realizing this truth in yourself. Samshayadirahitam karambhavat tena tattva nigamo bhavishyati. You will realize this truth without a shadow of doubt. Just like taking a little water in the palm of your hand, how palpable it is. Nobody can say there is no water there. You are so sure the water in your hand. Kara ambuvat. Kara means hand, ambu means water. Take water in the hand and say, here is water. Absolutely indubitable. Nobody can deny it. Nobody can make you deny it. That kind of realization will come. Often, Vedanta uses this expression, kara ambu, or kara phalavat, nishtita phalavat. The fruit in the hand is so palpable. Nobody can cajole it out of you saying there is no fruit there. That's called realization. Sure, certain realization. Tena tattva nigamo bhavishyati. This knowledge of truth, realization of truth, will come to you as palpably as the water in the palm of one's hand. Karatalanyasta amalagavat. That's how Shankara often uses. Amalaga is the gooseberry, the fruit, nellikai. You put in the hand, say how clear. There is that amalagi. It is real. I realize it. Nobody can say it's not there. Such is the nature of spiritual realization. So, Buddha, verse 266, 68, Buddha guhayam sadasat vilakshanam brahmasya satyam paramadvitiyam tadatmana yotra vasayet guhayam punarna tasya anga guha praveshaha. Shankara uses very wonderful expression, guha, anga, twice used in two different senses. This buddhi, the cavity of buddhi, is always described like a cave, the cave of buddhi, guhayam, because it is interior, far interior, like a cave, buddhau guhayam, sadasat vilakshanam, apart from cause and effect relationship, brahmasti, that Brahman is there. It's a firm statement. In your heart it is there, in my heart it is there, brahmasti, nityam, satyam, it is the truth. Param advitiyam, supremely non-different, non-dual truth, this Brahman is there. Tadatmana yotra vaset guhayam. Those who realize this truth, then live like this in this world, that man will not have to go into the guha once again. That means in the womb, no more birth for that person. Natas punarnatasya anga guha pravesha. He did not enter into the womb of a particular body to be born again. You are free. You are free. Your mind is absolutely free. You are like a burnt paddy. Put in the soil, it won't grow because it's burned. Here also, you have burned everything in the knowledge that has come to you. No more of birth and death. That is the end of human evolution according to Vedanta. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Realizing our true nature. But we have to struggle for it. So, in 2-3 verses, this teaching is given. This mind has to be detached from this worldly way of looking at things. You can live in the world, but the worldly way of looking at things has to go. Live in the world. Don't allow the world to enter into you, Ramakrishna said. A boat will be on the water. There is the right place for the boat. But water should not be in the boat. There's a wrong place for the water. Why? It will make the boat stagnant. So what you call samsara is a stagnation. Doesn't deal with the world. Life is in the world. But let not worldliness sit in you. Then comes all this violence, crime, selfishness, exploitation, when worldliness enters into you. Don't do so. So, Shankara says in verse 270, Lokanuvartanam tettva, tettva dehanuvartanam, shastranuvartanam tettva, swadhyasadhanayam kuru. When you are actually in the world, in the spiritual path, these teachings become very important for us. It is relinquishing all social formalities. At this stage, we don't need all these social formalities. In worldly life, we need it. How do you do? I am glad to see you. All these you have to go on, compliment each other. Here you can be more honest and straight. Lokanuvartanam tettva. Don't be always, what you call, adapting to the world. As a British psychiatrist said, modern parents teach modern children. Children adapt to the world. Adapt to the world. What does it mean? Adapt a false self to a false world. That should not be. That's all the meaning here. Psychiatry protests against this so-called adaptation. Everything is false values. You make a false self, you adapt it. No. I shall live a true life. What a beautiful idea. Psychiatry sees so many demented people, distorted minds. They want to give them a little help. Help is by truth. Don't be showy. So, lokanuvartanam, pleasing the world by various ways of worldly adaptation. Give up that. Similarly, dehanuvartanam, taking care of the body. Every day how to make it fine. Hours spent only how to keep this body fine. This is just an instrument. Keep it healthy and forget it. That's the best thing to do. A healthy child forgets his body. A sick child remembers the body all the time. That's why a sick mind remembers the body. That is a sign of sickness. Keep it healthy. Good instrument. Use it for the work. Forget all about it. It was a French philosopher, Rousseau, who said, the stronger the body, the more it obeys you. The weaker the body, the more it commands you. Have a strong body, it won't command your mind. A weak body will make it always commanding the mind. So you become a slave of the body. So, dehanuvartanam tektva. Then, shastranuvartanam. Too much running after the shastras, scriptures. Going on reading this, reading that, constantly discussing. That is also a disease. Vedanta is bold enough to say, even shastranuvartanam must go. There are people who go on reading all the shastras, hearing all the lectures, they return. It only confuses the mind. What Shankara said, the Vag Vaikari Shabdajari, Shastra Vyakhana Kaushalam, Vaidushyam Vidusham Tadvad Bhuktaye, Nadu Muktaye, gives you a little food by sounding the Shastras. You can't realize the truth. So also, Shabdajalam, Maharanyam, this torrent of words, which is scripture, is a big forest, Maharanyam. Chitta Brahmana Karana. When you enter into it, you don't know how to get out of it. That's the nature of this forest of words. You know how to get in. There are people who have gone into the forest and lost their way. You don't know how to come out. Chitta Brahmana Karanam. Atha Prayatnat Jnatavyam. Tattvajna is Tattvam Atmanaha. Therefore, a wise man will understand what the scriptures have to say. Then lay them aside. Let me try to achieve what is said there. That's called sadhana in Sanskrit. The biggest emphasis is on sadhana. By practice, by discipline, you will be able to make the mind fit to realize this great truth. Merely living on words won't do. So, Shastrānuvartanam tyaktva, swadhyāsāpadayam kuru, trumodisadhyāsa, the superimposition that has come upon you, what Vivekananda called, dehypnotize yourself. We have hypnotized ourselves, that we are weak, that we are good for nothing, that we are this, that we are that. Dehypnotize yourself. It is a Vedantic language Swamiji used while speaking in America. Whenever a question is asked, sir, is not religion hypnotism? Is not Vedanta you preach hypnotism? You are hypnotizing people? Straight came the answer, I am dehypnotizing you. You are already hypnotized. I want to dehypnotize you. You think you are weak? You think you are a black man or a white man? You think you are this and that? These are all hypnotism. This is your true nature. Vedanta means dehypnotization. In Indian lectures he has said, oh modern Hindus, dehypnotize yourself. You have hypnotized yourself for centuries. This slavery, this weakness, all this have come. This sense of separateness between man and man, that is another hypnotism that has come upon us. Remove all this hypnotism. Realize your oneness with all. Live as brothers and sisters, fellow citizens, working for the good of the nation. This kind of Vedanta becomes applied to day-to-day life. The word is dehypnotization. Dehypnotization. A selfish man, highly hypnotized. He must be dehypnotized. This petty self, that's not your nature. You are one with all. Why do you become selfish? This kind of teaching is the language used here. So, swadhyāsāpadayam kuru. In a series of verses, this Shankara goes on telling, dehypnotize yourself. Dehypnotize yourself. You have been hypnotized. The Brahmin became hypnotized. Kshatriya became hypnotized. 5% people sat heavily on 95% people in India. You must now dehypnotize. Go down to the bottom. Bring up all the nations. All this means dehypnotization. Apart from high spiritual development, even for national character, we need lot of this dehypnotization. Then, loka vasanaya jantoho, shastra vasanaya picha, deha vasanaya jnanam, yathavat naiva jayate. By this social pressure, by this physical pressure, by this other pressure, the body pressure, these things, deha vasana, shastra vasana, the scripture pressure, I must read this, I must read that. All these become vasanas, and these vasanas hide the truth from you. Yathavat naiva janati. You don't know what is exactly the truth. These vasanas are covering all the truth in you. Therefore, the next sloka says, 272, samsara karagraha mokshamichoho ayomayam padaribadha singhalam vadanti tatnya paru vasanatrayam yosmat vimukta samupaiti muktim. These vasanas are called three powerful chains on your legs. That's the language used here. Ayomayam, made of iron. Padadibandha singhalam, tying the hand and feet with this iron chain. What are they? These three vasanas. Loka vasana, deha vasana, shastra vasana. These three vasanas. Vadanti tatnyaha. Those who know the truth, they refer to them as three powerful chains to bind you. In one poem, Vivekananda wrote, a chain, whether it is made of iron or gold, is yet a chain to bind you down. So off with them. I don't want any chain. I want freedom. I want freedom. That's language he has used in that song of Samadhi, that beautiful song he composed in the Thousand Island Park on the St. Lawrence River, 1895. Vadanti tatnya padu vasanatrayam. These vasanatrayam, three vasanas are padu, very clever, to pull you down, keep you bound. Yosmat vimukta. Those who are free from these vasanas, samupayate muktim. They become truly, spiritually free, liberated. They become like that. They say, Swapmanneva sada sthitva mano nashyati yoginaha. Vasananam khayaschada swadhyasa kuru. This dehypnotization do. How? Here is the mind. This mind is what is conjuring up everything. Vedanta suggests a certain measure. And that is also endorsed by Zen Buddhism. What is that? Kill this mind. Mano nasha. You have to destroy this mind. It's a wonderful idea. Mind getting destroyed. In all Zen teaching, you will find this emphasis. This mind has to die. This duality is conjured up by the mind. What is behind the mind is the Atman, that is my true nature. So Mano Nasha is called. Manaso Amani Bhave Vaidam Naivo Papatyate. In the Vanduki Karika, Prabhupada said, when the mind ceases to be mind, you don't see duality. So no mind. The doctrine of the no mind you will find in Chinese and Japanese Zen Buddhism. Doctrine of the no mind. That truth is no mind. Mind is a lower level. Seeking duality, subject-object relation. All this is done by the mind. This mind must go. How do you destroy it? You cannot kill it by a weapon. You can't kill it by fire. As physical things you can do. Only through knowledge. Through knowledge, deepening, you can slowly eliminate this mind. When the mind becomes concentrated, mind dies. That's the meaning of it. Actually, mind means, we mean only this vritti. Vritti means modification. That's what we mean by the mind. But when all the vritti stop, mind also dies. But normally, when you go to sleep, the mind dies. But what happens next day? Mind comes up, why? The roots are there. The seeds are there. They are called vasanas. When the vasanas are there, you may think your mind is dead. But again it comes again. Next day. But when the vasanas are destroyed, then the mind is dead once for all, only the Atman remains. That's called a pure mind. A pure mind is a mind where vasanas have died. And so you don't call it minded. It is the Atman itself. Ramakrishna said, Siddha Manas, Siddha Buddhi, Siddha Atman, all are one and the same. When this becomes pure, it ceases to be an instrument as it is now. It becomes a subject. It becomes a self. It is that truth. This vasana must go. So the most important thing is vasana praksaya. He will say that later on. Vasana praksayo moksha. Moksha means destroying of the vasanas. Tendencies that give birth to new grass coming up all the time. New kind of plant coming up because the root is there, the seed is there. Tasmat, he says, Sattvam avastabhya. By depending upon the sattva, the purity of mind, we shall be able to banish this hypnotism that is come upon us, that is dehypnotization. Vasananam sayaschara. When this is done, all vasanas get destroyed. When this mind dies, vasana dies. That's the way of killing the mind. Finally, once for all, sadhyasa kuru. He is repeating again and again. This is how adhyasa can be removed from you. Superimposition or hypnotic suggestions that have made you what you are today. Sutya, yuktya, swanubhutya, jnatva, sarvatmamatmanah, kvajid abhasata praptah, swadhyasapadayam guru. Use three means. First, Shruti, that fund of spiritual experience collected in the Vedas. That's called Shruti. Then, Yukti, your own clear thinking and reason. Apply it. Then, Swanubhutya, your own experience. These three are always mentioned in Vedanta as helpful to spiritual life. All the three are needed. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava. Shruti first to hear. Just like somebody says, a geological expert, go, dig there, you will get oil there. Godavari basin, you have oil. So first a prospector comes. He does the prospecting and gives you a report. That's called Shruti. Then Yukti, you also study it properly in the laboratory. What are the various layers that are there? Finally comes Anubhava. You dig it and take the oil out. These three are always together, whether it is physical science or in spiritual life. That is one type of geology. This is another type of geology. So, Tutya, Yuktya, Swanubhutya, Jnatva Sarvatmanatmanah. Realize the universality of the self which is you. You are not a limited self conditioned by this body-mind complex. You belong to one and all. Sarvatma you are. The self of all you are. Therefore, love alone can come from you. That's a wonderful teaching. This Advaitic realization makes for infinite love. No place for hatred. It's possible there. Pure love alone is possible. You are one with me. I am one with you. That's called Sarvatma Bhava. Kvajidabhasata praptaha. This world appears then. It won't delude you. You know the truth. There are all differences are there. It's all one and the same. This kind of delusion, remove it, consistently working hard in that direction. Then similarly, 284, Aham bhavasya dehesmin, nischesha vilayavati, savadhanana yuktatma, padhyasapadayam kuru. This dehypnotization must go on until the consciousness I am the body never rises in the mind. Until then, this must go on. Aham bhavasya dehesmin, in this body, a sense of I. This is my body. When I say this is my body, I become limited by my body. To that extent, I can't respond to somebody else's suffering, to somebody else's way of life. So, overcome this, I limit it. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said. And the devotee asked him, Sir, when shall I be free? So came the answer. When I shall cease to be, you will be free. This little I is limiting you so much. This is a genetic I, genetically limited. Throw it away. Then the real self will find the self which is one with all. And so he said here, Savathanana yuktatma, swadhyasapanayam kuru, saprakasham atishtanam, swayambhoya swadatmana, brahmandamati pindandam, gyajyatam malabhandavat. When you realize this truth, you are that infinite one. Saprakasham, self-effulgence. Then atishtanam, the basis of the whole universe. Swayambhoya, you become that, you realize the truth. Sadatmana, becoming one with pure Atman, you can reject everything in this world. They are all nothing to you. Tucham, as we call it. Brahmandam, even this Brahmanda has no value for you. So he uses beautiful Sanskrit expression. Brahmandam api pindandam. This body is called pindanda, that's called Brahmanda. That's a wonderful expression. Brahmanda, pindanda. That is called cosmos. This is called microcosm. The little body is a microcosm, that's a macrocosm. Reject both. They are nothing, just like a wave on the ocean, which is Brahman. That is your realization. So that you can say no to the whole world when you know your own infinite nature. All spirit of renunciation, when it is natural, comes from a realization that what you gave up is so tucham, so little, what you gained is something higher. That's the meaning of renunciation. Otherwise, renunciation has no virtue. You give up eating on Ekadashi day and 24 hours thinking of food only all the time. There's no virtue in it. I don't care for it. I am gaining something higher by this fasting. That is wonderful. When you gain something higher, the lower thing goes away. If you give a child 25 paise, ask him to return it, he won't. Give him 1 rupee, he will throw 25 paise away. Ramakrishna's example. When you realize the infinite nature of Brahman, which is your true form, you will not run after any of these things. That is why high character cannot come without a little knowledge of this divine nature. Then I can say no to name, fame, power, nothing. My mind doesn't move that side at all. That perfect state, he will describe in a great verse later on. That perfect state, the state of a Buddha, state of Ramakrishna, state of Jesus. They were perfect. They could do without anything. But they handled the world out of compassion, out of love, to take them out of that delusion. So he says, Swaprakasham, Atishtanam, Swayambhoya, Swatadatmana, Brahmandamapi, Pindandam, Tyajyatam. Give it up, Malabhandavat, as a bundle of dirt. It has no value. What's the meaning of dirt? A thing which has no value is called dirt. Otherwise it is not dirt at all. So this is just like a piece of dirt. I have no value for it. Name, fame, pressure, I don't want. I have got something infinite within me. A Tyagaraja can say, I don't want your money. I have got Rama with me. That is the great strength. If Rama is not there, I must have that money. But Rama is there, I don't care for it. That's many great sages have said it, ordinary people have said it, common people have said it. In my lecture on Sunday once I referred to a driver in Tirupati. He gets his 1,200 rupees, absolutely honest, never taking a tip even from anybody. Then he was telling his trouble. His wife is not reconciled to this idea. Other people are bringing a lot of money, why don't you bring? Like that. They are dishonest. I don't want to be dishonest, I don't need it. But she is harassed. He asked me, what shall I do? I said, stand firm and educate her. This is the way. So I am telling, you don't need this because you've got something else with you. Something strong, something steady. So, malabhandavat, reject it. I can live this simple life with this money. I don't want to be a slave of anybody. I don't want to steal or rob. What a beautiful idea. Be a slave, begging something. I get my decent salary. I do it with honor, with my honor, sense of self-respect. That's the teaching. So these are all practicable. The poor or the rich, all can be of this attitude. Janaka, the emperor, had this attitude. He ruled the kingdom, but he never felt it belongs to him. Absolutely detached he was. Krishna and Janaka, both were householders, dealing with the world. But their character was very high. Because of this, perfect detachment is a practical proposition. In India at least, nobody can question, because there are so many examples, even ordinary people. You can see a Purandradasa. He was a rich man. He got his love of God. He threw away everything, became a dasa. And what wealth he gave to the world in his wonderful songs. The highest philosophy, most beautiful music combined together is Purandradasa songs in Karnataka. But he was a rich man before. This value system is negative, relative. When you get one, there is something else higher. When you get the higher, the lower goes away. There is such a higher. There's a constant teaching. In you, there's a tremendous focus of value. What can a thing be compared with you? When we are in trouble, we realize this truth. We are so attached to a blanket, to a radio, to this, to that. But when there is crisis, we throw everything to save this little body of mine. I am superior to the things I possess. This I came across during the bombing of Rangoon in the Second World War, 1942. People were running away from their homes, save their lives. They carried radio, blankets, costly things, all with them. But they couldn't carry all this long way. So on the way they throw away, one by one thrown away. And they just saved their skin to come to India. On the road you could see so many costly things lying here and there. That time the people realized that this is more important than all the things that are there. Why a crisis should come to teach you this lesson? Even now you can learn that lesson. You are superior to the things that you own. So, don't be owned by things. You own them. You are the master and not a slave. That's all Vedantic teaching. You can have all the nice things. Don't evaluate yourself in terms of them. That is why Swadhyasa Padayam Kuru Brahmandam Abhipindandam Tyajyatam Malabhandavat. Just a bundle of dirt. Nothing else. That should be the spirit of dispassion. Then you can be independent, free. Real independence is not possible without this spirit. That is what Vedanta tells us. Yat Satyabhutam says 292. Yat Satyabhutam Nijarupamadhyam Chidadvayanandam Arupam Akriyam Tadetya Mithyavaparutsrujeta Shailushavat Vesham Upatam Atmanah. He gives a beautiful example. That which is real and one's own primeval essence, that knowledge and bliss absolute, that is our true nature. It is one without a second, beyond form and activity. You attain this and shed this facade which you have put for yourself. This is an external something you have put on yourself. Throw it away. Later the example is given. A snake is moving. After some time you find snake has become fresh and it has thrown away its external covering there. That is how Shankara describes this. That external fluff is thrown away and a new snake comes out of it. We often see it in the forest, we see there. That kind of a fluffy thing. Similarly, this external thing you throw away. The real man comes out. That's the nature of the real man, he calls it. And the example given is Shailu Shavat Vesham Upatam Atmana. You are an actor in a drama.